Drogba indirdi ceza alan Snyder. Snyder gol! Allah'ım gol! Muslera! Fernando Muslera! Golün adı Muslera! Sarıyoglu, Drogba! This is incredible!
Hello, and what's going on, my people? Welcome to episode 57 of The Lion's Den, a Galatasaray podcast done by the community, for the community. On this rainy yet great day, I'm your host Emre, and alongside me, which I'm sure most of you guys have missed, is my neighbor, the Emre and Yasin. Yup, another All-American podcast. It's just you and me today. Yasin, how you feeling?
What's good, bro? Yeah, I miss you guys. Last week, unfortunately, I missed the game and the podcast, but you and Salih held it down. So good on you guys. This time, Salih is MIA. He had a wedding to attend. Can't give him crap for that. But
He has two.
He has two weddings.
He has two weddings, yeah.
And speaking of two, he apparently predicted the score correctly. So the week prior was me. This time it was him. Credit to you, Salih. Hopefully we can continue to predict these wins and win the championship in a couple weeks. But yeah, truly will be missed today. But it's just you and me, American style. You can't complain about that. Can't go wrong with that. So happy to be here, bro.
Well, we're happy to have you too, friend. You're the guy. You're the main. So, Yasin, we won against Sivasspor today, 2-0. But before we get into that, what is on the horizon for Galatasaray? News and events. What you got for us?
So there's actually not too much news. I know you guys recorded the podcast only a few days ago, and I think between then and now there was only one real big event, and that's the groundbreaking ceremony for our new training facilities, which will be called Kemer Burgaz Metin Oktay facilities. Great person, great name to pick for the future of our training grounds. Obviously, Florida has been great for us for quite some time. Lots of memories, lots of historic players, iconic legends and players have gone through there. Fatih Terim obviously owns that damn pitch. You know, every time I think of that pitch, I think of Fatih Terim. But it's time to move on to something newer and better. Not because the last training ground wasn't great, but because the aspirations for this club is only getting bigger and bigger. We want to make sure that we provide a good training ground to our youth team, our A team at the top-notch facilities. I mean, it doesn't matter what sport you follow. Big teams, big clubs are always improving and renovating and bringing something new to what they do regularly, whether that's a stadium. Look at Real Madrid. They're completing their new stadium next year. Not that their old stadium was bad, but because they just have bigger ambitions.
Bigger aspirations.
Exactly. And for us this time, it's going to be our training facilities. And
yeah,
I can't trust nobody more than Erden Timur and his NEF team. That's what they specialize in. And they already started. So I really can't wait to see what that looks like. And I hope, Emre, actually, that they maybe even open like a tour or something in the future where fans can attend, the training facilities and just look around when the players are not there. I think that might be a really nice touch, but maybe too early to speak on that. But definitely exciting times ahead.
They have a ton of land as well, so I'm sure they'll have some attractions for people, fans in general. But you mentioned Fatih Terim. Fatih Terim was at the ceremony. I missed the Hoca so much, seeing them smile. And he even goes, "Beyler, it looks like you guys missed me." And indeed we did, Hojam. And one thing you mentioned that I didn't want to cut you off, but like the Floria, you said it was his grounds. I remember someone saying that, I think during Unal Aysal's period, he had somebody, he had the team construct a place where he can sleep and spend the night at Floria and work from. That's how dedicated this man was. I remember there was this one picture after the celebrations after a championship, the whole Floria training ground was just filled with people celebrating, and he was like on the balcony. Man, we're gonna leave behind some great memories, man.
That's nostalgic, actually. Like that's iconic. Just think of seeing Fatih Terim on the balcony with the players looking down, and you see nothing but the fans screaming, looking up with their banners and, the, what do you call it? The fire sticks, whatever they're called.
The flares?
The flares, man. Incredible scenes. And hopefully, maybe we can replicate that in a new place next season. But
Hopefully.
let's see how that goes. It really does look good.
I wish they dedicated a spot and named it after Fatih Terim, but I don't know. We don't do that. Galatasaray doesn't do that. Maybe when
I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will in the future.
Down the line. Yeah, in the future. But yeah, no. There was a ton of people. One thing that I wanted to mention was that whole ceremony. You had people that you never thought you would see people together, right? You had Unal Aysal, you had Fatih Terim, Burak Elmas, all in the same scope. Abdurrahim Albayrak, right?
Mm-hmm.
They like the fact that these people can put away their differences and just come together for Galatasaray shows how kenetlenme we are right now. Like how our ties are really close right now. And it's great to see that we've, mitigated this issue within the team where it's like us versus them within the club. It's not like that anymore, it seems. And again, props to Dursun Özbek, who we gave a lot of issues to when he was elected. Who would have known that the man who almost destroyed the club finances would be able to turn things around? 0 to 100, the glow up. I don't know, man. I've never seen something like this. Have you?
Nah, man. We write #concentration every single week, and that's not just for marketing purposes. That is truly how this club and fans feel at the moment. I mean, it's not just a May thing. We say Mayıslar bizimdir, May is ours, but in fact, it's been like this all season, and you've heard journalists mention it many times from the very early on. They're saying
Justin,
that people...
Justin, Fenerbahce wants to get rid of the month May.
I'd believe it. If somebody said to me, Fenerbahce wants the season to start earlier and finish earlier so it doesn't go into May going forward, I would believe it because listen, it's not a good month for them, to say the least. But
it is not.
Yeah, man, everybody's put their differences aside. There's one thing on everybody's mind, and that is a championship. They see the players, the coach, one of our very own, Okan Buruk. Everybody's focused, and there's not much left until we can be celebrating. I mean, I'm sure some people have already started the celebrations. I think we still do need to remain humble and realize that anything can happen. They say in soccer, the ball is round, anything can happen. That is still the case,
Yeah.
So let's stay focused, and hopefully we finish strong.
Look at Arsenal. Look at Bayern. Bayern just lost today, 3-1 to Leipzig. Okay, so if they can sell and bottle, anyone can. I know people say Galatasaray's winner club. Yeah, we're a winner club, but there's always a first for everything, guys. Don't forget that. You always got to stay and remain humble, no matter what the cost is. I don't care if we're ahead by 5 points, 8 points. Fatih Terim's, what is his famous words? We can close the gap between 18. Exactly. So we got to stay humble and vigilant and just be focused. Concentración, por favor.
Yep. Well said.
Yeah, man. Well, so I think as for news, that's about it, right? What are your aspirations for the club? You were mentioning that teams like Real Madrid are always going above and beyond their scope, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what big teams need to do. Well, Galatasaray is trying to replicate something like that. What are your aspirations for this club in the coming years? Maybe in the next 5 to 10 years. What do you expect from this team?
I'd like, obviously, the A team, our main team, to do well, not just in the league, but in Europe consistently every year. I know that the Turkish league and Turkish Federation in general, our clubs have underperformed lately. So our placement in Europe has gone down, and with that, our guaranteed spots in Champions League or Europa League have also decreased. Now we have to go through playoff rounds, and we'll talk about that definitely as we finish the season in detail. But I'd like to see us succeed consistently there. And by doing that, I think you create a better name for the club to all football fans around the world. And by doing that, you can attract not only good players in their prime, but younger players, youth players, not just the ones that are in Turkey, but youth players around the world. You know, you can negotiate with them and say, hey, look, we just created this brand new training facility. You're going to be playing with a lot of other really good young players from all over Turkey. You're going to be playing for Turkey's best football team. I mean, we already are, but you're going to have a better argument for that. And you're going to be training with the Icardis and the Mertens and, you know, the Matas, all these big players with the A team time to time. And like your training facility is going to be right next to there, so you can watch them. So I'd like us to build, you know, across all our platforms. Obviously, you want to see our other sports teams do well too, women's teams, other sports as well. But you know, I personally have more of an interest in our football team, so I'd like us to start there. But just constantly succeeding, I guess. There's a lot we can say, but I think that's a good high level ambition.
Yeah, no, I get that. I kind of agree with you, man. One thing that's been bugging me lately is the lack of sponsorships. I don't know if that's going to change in the future because we're going to be going back into Europe with this, you know, particularly strong team. If we can like maintain Icardi, this whole team basically, Icardi, Rashica, you name it, and make some like improved transfers on top of that. Like, how many times has it been? You know, we heard that like Arab Emirates, right? The flying the airlines was going to sponsor us. This guy was going to sponsor us, give us like 10 mil a year, right? How many times did we hear that? Mm-hmm. But no, we're still stuck with. You know, I'm grateful for a sixth. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like we do need to step up our game, get that bigger and better sponsorship, because let's face it, the Turkish lira is not really where it should be. Mm-hmm. And we really need that sponsorships. That's where I want us to improve on. I know it's like, oh, is that like the least of your worries? Yeah, it's like first world problems, yes, but like still, I would like us to get a better deal. Like
money is money. Why is it?
Money is money, Lan.
I agree with you.
Yes, exactly.
That's
no,
actually
no money, no honey.
I'm really glad you brought that up. And, you know, I don't know if it was strategic in the way that we did it, but like you said, last season when Erden Timur and Özbek came, there were a lot of rumors that this firm or this company is going to sponsor us. Before that as well.
Elmas's term.
Exactly. And I think it actually kind of worked out because last year, how much of an argument do you have, Emre? Let's say you're Galatasaray Club and you go to a company and say, I want this much for you to give me for the next 3, 4, 5 years. And they're going to say, well, you're making this much now and you just finished 13th and your team is full of all these players that are honestly I've never heard of before. Why would I pay you? I don't know. I'm just throwing, 10 million a year. Maybe it's more, maybe less. I'm just using a random number. Why would I do that? What can Erden Timur say in that moment? What is he going to say? I'm going to bring all these stars. You can't sign an agreement to pay a team 50 million over 5 years when on empty promises, potentially empty promises. But now we can say, look, we brought all these players and we did this when we just finished 13th place. So now we have all these players. We're hopefully going to become champions and use that as your argument. You say we're going to be in Europe and we're going to continue to build this squad even better than last year. And then next year, we're going to build it even better than last year. And we're going to do that with your help. As a sponsor, we're going to use some of your money to bring in certain players on certain wages. And it's just going to build the reputation of Galatasaray. And all of Europe and Turkey is going to see your name consistently. So now you have a better argument. So maybe by not bringing a new sponsor last season, it worked in our benefit. Her şeyin hayırlısı olur. So I hope that in this case, the fact that we didn't find a sponsor worked in our favor. So now we can have a better argument, a better conversation on an even higher amount.
No, you're right. Especially after our Europa like run, I was expecting maybe a little bit of interest from teams around from sponsors around the world. But what got me most, frustrated was we kept getting promises. That was what was irritating me the most. And hopefully, now that we actually have, like you said, a reason for people to, sponsor us, I expect alongside the new training grounds that our team, our president, and the board members find somebody that can actually bring this team to new heights. Look, why do I say this? Because if you look at history, especially in the last couple of years, ever since we were champions, every team that has been champions the year after, they have crumbled down. You look at Trabzon, they crumbled. You look at Beşiktaş, they crumbled. Başakşehir, they crumbled, right? Everyone has been crumbling the year after their championship. So I just want our team, the people running this club to just keep that in mind, because what makes the world go around essentially is money. You got the dinero, you can make things happen, okay? So that's what I want from the club. It's just being aware and ready for the future. And we know that they're working on this right now because they said it multiple times. But no matter how busy you are at it, you still need money at the end of the day if you want to get that quality guy, that quality player at the end of the day.
For sure.
Just saying that. That's my main concern.
I agree.
But yeah. All right. So, well, the rest of the lads couldn't make it, unfortunately, again. So they won't be here to talk about our 2-0 win against Sivasspor. So, Yasin, you want to take us into the game?
Sure. It was at home, and interestingly, heading into this game a couple days ago, I was really hoping that this would be the game where we win and we become champions, and that was dependent on Fenerbahce and Trabzonspor's game. They recently played each other. If Fenerbahce had lost points, whether a draw or a loss, and we won this game, we would have become champions. And the reason why I say that is because I think it was our last championship, or no, I think it was 2 championships ago. It was against Sivasspor at home when we won and guaranteed our place as champion. So I was really hoping for something like that again. But there is no need to rush anything. There is no need to create this ideal situation in our minds. As long as we keep winning like we did, we will become champions. So against Riza Çalınbay and Sivasspor, we won 2-0. Our lineup, mostly unchanged once again. Kazımcan at the left back. Sacha Boey made his return. He was suspended last game. Leo Dubois took his spot, did his job. But Sacha Boey is our main right back, and he returned. Nelson and Bardakçı in the middle between them. Lux Torreira and Sergio in the midfield. Kerem Rashica on the wings. Mertens in the middle between them. And Icardi up top, our goal scorer. Obviously, we have Muslera in net. None of that was really surprising. I think Sivasspor actually, Emre, had a lot of missing players today. And I know we discussed it beforehand.
They had like 7, bro.
Yeah, I thought it was a good thing. Obviously, I think most people thought it was a good thing. But of course, it's a question mark as well, because when players who don't normally play get the opportunity, they want to show themselves, whether it's because they have expiring contracts and they want a new contract in a month or 2 with a new club, or a new one with the Sivasspor as well. They want to prove themselves. So this was a good opportunity for a lot of them. Did they do the job? Clearly not. Finished 2-0. They didn't score. They didn't keep a clean sheet. We did our job and we got out of there. Our goal scorer, Icardi, did what he does best, what he's been doing for the last 7 games consistently, is score goals and help us get the 3 points. Is there anything that you want to touch on that before we get into, I guess?
Yeah, no, like you guys heard what I said about the missing players. Sometimes I'm not a huge fan of it because, like, when people like Okan Buruk, they probably really study and analyze the tactics of, the team that's playing and like adjust accordingly, right? And then when you have this many, people that are missing, sometimes it can be a negative because they could come out with a whole different tactic that you're not ready for and need to adjust to it, right? It could be a problem, but most often not, most people would say, oh, you want these players to be missing because they're the difference makers. But yeah, no, like, I can't really blame Riza Çalınbay this time because he actually had to sit some players out and rest them because I believe they actually have a game in 4 days. A Turkish Cup game. So they need to preserve players. Kind of sucks for them, but that's what happens when you have, when you're in two different tournaments, right? Turkish Cup and the league game. But like you said, if it would have been nice to, claim the championship in this game. But, there's like you said, her şeyin hayrı vardır. There's a reason for everything, bro.
For sure.
But yeah, no, take us into the game and let's just get into it. Get to the dirty, nitty gritty details.
I mean, ideally, I'd like to spend a little bit more time just discussing general observations, but just to go through a couple main points, controversial positions, and goals. We found our first goal in the 13th minute, which was a relief to say the least. I think when you're at this end stretch of the season, every single game is really important. Every single goal you get is super important. And every single minute that you are not leading your game, it is stressful. I don't want to speak on behalf of everybody, but I was very stressed. I mean, even beyond that too, but we got our nice goal in the 13th minute. Kerem tried to play a through ball to, I believe, Rashica, who made a run across the forward line behind the defenders. Defender cleared it, but right back to Kerem. Kerem didn't spend a lot of time. I believe it was a one-touch pass immediately to Icardi on the right side. Perfect through ball. Like he said, keep running. You don't have to slow down. I'm going to pass it perfectly in your path. That's exactly what happened. Goalie came out too slow. Icardi's too fast. Icardi slotted that in the net. I loved it. And, they seem to have some sort of special connection because apparently Icardi and Kerem have assisted each other 7 times this season. That is a fun little stat.
That's wild.
That's a fun little stat. I mean, normally it's your midfielders, your number 10, your number 8 with the long ball, or maybe it's on corner kicks and set pieces, which is usually also from your midfielders. But these two seem to have a very special connection. Kerem actually really does try to find Icardi behind the defenders. We've seen it many times. I feel like 7, even though that's very impressive, I feel like they could have had way more with just a little bit more luck. So that was our first goal. And then Icardi, again, found the net in the 63rd minute. This time, Sacha Boey, man. Emre, we criticized Sacha Boey for not always finding the best cross. His crosses are too heavy. They're too wide. But this time, I thought it was pretty perfect, right behind the defenders to where Icardi was. Do you want to explain this goal? Because I really did enjoy it. And I think you were saying you got quite hype when he scored. Do you want to explain this one?
Yes, I almost think my neighbors were going to call the cops because I was going crazy. So here's a scenario. Sacha Boey has the ball, right? And he's going down the right side and he's just looking for somebody to pass to and he's not really finding much options. And then, what do people do? All right, you know what? I'm just going to fling it in. I'm going to try to find Icardi because this man just creates magic. So he flings it into the box and he finds Icardi on the far left post. And Icardi jumps in the air. And he's at such an angle, you don't expect him to shoot towards the goal. When that happened, I don't know about you, Yasin, but I thought he was just going to lay it into the middle because Kerem was in the middle. That seemed like the logical choice. You ask anybody. But no, this man is built differently. They call him the Irz Düşmanı for a reason, right? So he heads it perfectly into the bottom left corner where Ali Şaşal scrambles to get the ball and he messes up and it goes right into the net. And that brought us the 2-0 lead. And just I'm pretty sure many people were puckered up, asses puckered, just nervous as hell. And for me, it was just a relief, complete relief, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the goal, guys.
Perfectly said. I think not just you. I think 95% of fans, if not 100%. And most importantly, the goalie himself, Ali Şaşal, thought that Icardi was going to cross that back in. Because it was deep ball. Icardi kind of had to backpedal a little bit and the angle was tough. He almost positioned his body and his shoulders like he's going to actually head that back into where Kerem was. And Kerem...
Yes, that's what I'm saying, bro. You never would have thought that he would try to shoot it in with his head.
Yeah, and huge credit to Kerem for actually being there because by him being there, you create an extra thought. You keep the defender busy,
right.
And you keep the goalie guessing, okay, this guy Kerem, the attacker, is right in the box. Icardi, there's no way in hell he's going to hit it from that corner. And he actually has an option to cross it. So that's what he's likely going to do. Because if Kerem was not there and the goalie sees that, then he's going to be better positioned because he's going to say, okay, Icardi has no way to cross this to. He's going to shoot it on net, and he would have positioned himself better. So huge, massive credit, and probably underrated in this entire goal is Kerem's ability to get in the box. He is always a threat. Huge props to Kerem. But of course, huger props to Icardi for finding that corner. And as I just said, because of Kerem being there, the goalie was not in the right position. I think he slowly took a step to the left, and that was just enough for Icardi to find that corner. And man, what a relief that was, because it was 1-0, and you know how it is, man. 1-0. If the other team, if we make a mistake, if the ref doesn't give something or does give a penalty to the other team, before you know it's 1-1, and everybody's panicking. And speaking of ref, I feel like it'd be appropriate to discuss the two controversial positions that we had during the game as well. Would you like me to explain those, or do you want to take it away?
Oh, I love how everyone always, when it comes to refs, just defaults to me. But okay.
I'll explain. I'll explain it, and I'll get your feedback on it. How about
okay.
that? So
All
the
right.
first and most controversial position, in my opinion, was in the first half. Sivasspor player Robin Yalchin. My God, Emre. First of all, let's just rewind 30 seconds, 10 seconds before the actual position. Muslera has the ball. We have control of the ball. Okay, maybe we're not attacking as much as we want, but we have control. Muslera takes the ball, and instead of clearing it, he plays it directly in the middle into Lucas Torreira, who's providing support. And again, puts him in almost like a handicap situation. All right, you figure it out. It's like hot potato with Muslera and the ball sometimes. Instead of just clearing the ball and having the ball get the hell away from the danger zone, which is our net, he likes to play it from the back. And I get it. It's nice when it works and you keep possession of the ball. But Muslera, how many times, Muslera, have we lost the ball because of that pass that you make every single game, and we've conceded because of it, or we've gotten yellow cards or red cards? This man just loves
risk, bro. He just loves risk. Didn't he also lose money because he got tied up in something? This man is probably a better too, bro. He just loves risk.
Yeah, dude.
Doesn't make sense.
Mad.
Just kick it out. You're leading 1-0. Why would you play that? I hate when he does that.
It's so frustrating.
I hate it.
It's so frustrating because it's one thing to let up a goal from, if Sivasspor played incredible, they scored a bicycle kick or a long shot, and Muslera can't, if it's a respectable goal, okay, you keep your head up. As a player on the field, if Sergio, Lucas Torreira, Mertens, whoever, if they see Sivasspor score a beautiful goal that we can't do anything about, then you say, okay, what the hell you want me to do? You put your hands up and you say, respect. Now I'm going to do my thing because I had zero control over that. But when you make a mistake like that, when your goalie makes a mistake like that and you let up a goal, everybody's head goes down. They say, why did we just do this? We just shot ourselves in the foot. And that is mentally harder to recover from. And somebody needs to tell Muslera this, because too many of his mistakes is costing us goals. I mean, this is a thing over years. And hey, if you're listening, I am Muslera's #1 fan. So I don't mean this in a bad way, but he just needs to be more aware. And this season especially, I feel like we've lost a lot of points in the last month or two because of the mistakes that Muslera is making. So anyways, he makes his pass, and Torreira handles it pretty good. He turns with the ball, but freaking Robin Yalchin comes and studs up, foot up on top of the back of Torres' ankle/heel. And my God, dude, I'm pretty sure I saw a turn ever so slightly, and he was on the ground for a while. And Emre, you see the replay very clearly. The ball was away from Robin Yalchin. Torreira was already gone, and he comes studs up. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, if it was anybody with a red and yellow jersey that did that, it would have been a red card. No question about it. So he could have, some people are saying he caught him, but it was a little lower than usual. It's not above the ankle completely. But again, if his like foot was planted, that could have still potentially broke his ankle because of the way, like the angle he hit him at, right? And it's like you're not even playing for the ball at that point. You're not going to get the ball. You're on the other side of where the ball is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was a red. I thought it was a red. There's not much to say about it. It's very, it's an injury-prone position. It's a tackle in that, scenario where you could have actually broken his ankle. Yeah. So for me, it's a red. And I believe Edmond Toro also said it's a red. I don't know if many people care for his opinion, but I kind of do. So,
yeah, I mean, I think it's always, it's everybody, analysts and TV people, they have varying opinions time to time, but it's always good to hear that somebody else agrees with you. Me personally, I thought this was borderline orange/red card. If he gave a red, I would have been like, yeah, that's right. But the fact that he gave a yellow, I almost understand it because it wasn't like with bad intent. It wasn't like a super late challenge. He just simply got beat, and he was not careful with where he put his foot. It wasn't to me like, oh, that was really intentional. It wasn't like, he lost the ball, let me step on Torre's foot so he doesn't get away. Like it wasn't like that for me. And because of that, I can't complain too much. If it cost us a game, I would have been obviously maybe a little more upset about it.
Look,
and I'm just glad he's not hurt. I mean, that's how I look at it. Like in hindsight,
that's the thing, though. That's the thing, bro. Like you say, there's no bad intent. If you're going to injure me, that's a red card, man. Like that's what I look at.
Yeah.
It for me, it doesn't matter on intent as much as it is how severe the situation was.
You're right.
I don't know how dangerous it was, right? Because like, oh, my bad. I didn't mean to break your leg or your ankle. Whoops. You know what I mean? Like, and like if his foot was planted, it would have been banco broken because he had his foot lifted. He's a very nimble guy. And I think that's why he's so like fast. He's just very nimble. He's always on his toes. And if he wasn't, there would have been GG's for him. I'm telling you, it would have been really, really bad.
For sure. Emre, did the ref and VAR do us a solid and apologize minute 55 when Mertens stopped the Sivasspor attack?
I thought that was a red card. Honestly, I thought maybe they could give him a red card for that because he lifts his leg up and stops them on purpose. I don't know what the rules are, but Mertens slid and lifts his leg up and just stops the attack right then and there. Like, I don't know, Yasin. I don't know how the rules work there.
Yeah, I thought I was completely expecting the ref to be called to VAR in that position because, first of all, Mertens is, I don't know what he's doing. He slides like 20 feet to stop this ball, and he knows he's not going to get it to it. And he knows that if that player got past him, they were going to be in some sort of a decent attack. And his intention was just to slide, get the ball, or maybe knock him a little bit, right? And the very last moment when he is about to knock the player down, he literally raises his foot and his leg up, studs up, and it's not like a severe impact, but still it studs up on the guy's like upper thigh, chest area. I forget exactly where it was. Like that's very dangerous. And like I get it, his knee was like not completely flat out. Like it's not like he went like leg up, like I'm coming for you. Like he actually folded or broke his knee a little bit. Like Mertens kind of softened the blow a little bit. So it wasn't very dangerous, but still like you can't lift your leg like that. And in my opinion, if I'm just guessing here, if Robin Yalçın didn't make the tackle that he did and he didn't get the incorrect call, if that whole thing didn't happen and it was just Mertens, I think they would have really been like, you know what, let's give Mertens a red card. Because if Mertens got that red card after they didn't give the red card to Robin Yalçın in the first half, they would have heard it. They would have heard it. And it would have looked really bad for VAR. Like, you can bring any foreign refereeing association and be like, look at this red card that they didn't give, and look at the one that they did give in the second half. Somebody would be in a lot of trouble.
They wouldn't. They don't care, bro. You think these people care? Bro, their president, the MHK president is going up on beIN Sports, literally saying, oh, we were wrong, sorry. And they're continuing the same bullshit. They've been doing this whole time. They're still doing it. They're still doing it, bro. They don't care. They have no honor, man. I don't think they would care.
Yeah, maybe you're right, actually. Anyways, that's sad. So, fortunately, nobody got injured. Nobody important got a red card, and we got the 3 points. That's the most important thing. Now let's talk about the game, Emre, if that's fine with you.
It is fine with me.
Let's start with a really fun statistic.
Okay.
Prior to the last 3 games, we let up 6 goals in 2 games. One was against Beşiktaş. One was against Fatih Karagümrük. 3 goals each. That is unheard of for Galatasaray. We have the best defensive record, I'm pretty sure, in the league, and we usually have control. And if we do lose points, it's usually 1 or 2 goals that we let up. We let up 6 goals in 2 games, unheard of. And our response to that, as we approach the final stretch of the season, is to play a very controlled, very calm game. Are we as sexy as we usually are? Are we always attacking? Do we have a million positions like we normally do? Maybe not. And maybe some people are upset about it. Maybe we're getting criticized for it. But we're getting 3 points. We're getting shutouts. Emre, the last 3 games, we let up 0 goals. Sivasspor, Istanbulspor, and Istanbul Başakşehir. 0 goals. Against Sivasspor, Emre, we had a .11 XGA. So our opponents are finding little positions. Istanbulspor had a .3 XGA. Başakşehir had a
XGA or XG?
XG would be the expected goals for us. XGA is expected goals against. So, the way I worded it maybe didn't make sense. But yeah, we let up .17 XGA versus Başakşehir. So our defense, we make sure to praise them every week. But man, truly, I think the way that we're playing itself, it just does not really give positions to the other teams. And
right.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah, dude. I think these past 3 games, if you add up the XG that the teams had that were playing against them, I don't think it passed 1.
No,
I don't think. Right. So, guys, we're not saying Mayslar Bizim'dir for no reason. In May, we haven't conceded a goal. So hopefully there's no jinx after this, and you guys blame me for jinxing it. But anyway, what the statistic that I wanted to point out was I think this is the first time that Galatasaray had an XG lower than 1.0 because we were at 0.87.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's according to FOTMob. So, look, I understand that a lot of fans aren't, super intrigued by the way they were playing. And you could even tell it during the game. I felt like the fans weren't as fired up as usual. And I can attribute that to the way we were playing. It was very slow and methodical and more safe. And I get that. You're in the last stretch. You got to play more reserved. As long as you keep your defense, up top and top notch, making 0 errors or close to 0 errors, that'll bring you closer and closer to the championship. And you can tell we're not going face first and leaving a ton of space in the back anymore. You can see that. Sergio Oliveira, who I thought yet again has had a bad game, is staying further back and being that extra body in defense, helping out the team, while Torreira is going and pressing the midfield, who I think is probably the MVP of the game. This man is literally carrying Sergio Oliveira and Mertens. He's just everywhere. I love this man. It's insane that we got him for 6 mil at his current age. It's crazy. It's absolutely not. He deserves way better in terms of being at the top flight. But I'm glad he's at Galatasaray and it seems like he loves Galatasaray. But we're playing slower. And it's not a bad thing, in my opinion, Yasin. So
no. I mean, Emre, we're in the final stretch of the season, and I don't say this from the point of let's be safer and get the 3 points. I say this because our players are tired. I mean, Lucas Torreira is a different animal. He's an Ant-Man for a reason. But Sergio Oliveira is 31 years old. Mertens is 35 years old. These guys are tired. This is the reality of the situation. Every single team.
I get Mertens, but not Sergio, man. Come on, 30.
I mean, Sergio has never really been the player to, cover the field. We knew this before we bought him, right? He is what we called a maestro, a player who can change the direction of the field, the ball, can play long balls, take shots. He was never really the guy to be like, okay, he's going to come in and play like Ndiaye and play like Torreira and play like Fernando and Melo and just win every ball, dribble up, dribble here. Like, that's not who he is. He's a more of a stationary player. And I don't mean like he just stands one place, but he doesn't run as much. And our system demands a lot of pressing. And we'll get to that too. But when Okan Buruk demands this from his players all season in very tough games like this, they're going to get tired. Like, this is the reality of the case. And it could be a matter of confidence. It could be a matter of maybe he doesn't fit in our system perfectly. That's regardless of the situation. The reality is he's tired. And I'm glad that you brought up he's kind of a little bit more back. That's what you do. When you're on the field and you're shorthanded, your coach always tells you, okay, I'd rather have you walk around in the back than walk around up to... Oh, actually, I think my logic just didn't make sense. But I'd rather have him be tired in the back and help out than just stand around in the midfield or up top and do nothing, right? Like, if he's going to be an extra man, I'd rather have him do that in reality. So, and we took him off for Micho, and honestly, that made the biggest difference in my opinion. Like, when he was on the field, I thought he was like really tired, noticeably tired. And when Micho came on in the 66th minute, like I feel like there was a huge difference in how we pressed and how we won the ball. Did you see that difference too, or?
Yeah, no. When you mentioned press, right? I don't know if you have noticed this. I think Okan Buruk changed up his tactics just a little bit. Why do I say this? Well, all season long, where have we been pressing teams? We've been pressing their back line all the time, every time, putting an immense amount of pressure there. And it used to work really well. And the game that it worked well, the best, was the Başakşehir game, no doubt. But I think teams are just like started adapting to it, and they just started yeeting the ball away as soon as any of our team players pressed. So what are we doing now? We're still pressing up, but it's not as, like the effort isn't as high as it was before. Where I think Okan Buruk made the biggest change was instead he thought, okay, they don't want to, they want to hit the ball out towards the midfield. Okay, I will press the midfield then. What I saw this game and the game before is the amount of pressing that happens in the midfield. Like, whenever Sivasspor gets the ball, they have no time to breathe. No time. Torreira's on them immediately. Even Oliveira's on them immediately. Mertens, Kazımcan. It's like everyone converges in the middle. And if I can find a heat map of all the lost balls, you'll find that most of it happened in the midfield. And we had a ton of chances that derived from those pressing, incidents where they lost the ball and we recovered it. I don't know if you've seen that, like if you noticed that, but that's something that caught my eyes. Like, we transitioned from a front press to a midfield press. And I think it's better in the long run because teams they can't come at us at all.
Yeah, and I think tied to that is we purposely let teams kind of spread the field a little bit. We allow them to kind of come up or let them play with the ball a little bit more often instead of constantly, just pressing the final third. That allows Sivasspor to play it safe and just come back. Then you have to play against 10, 11 defenders at one time. And that's tough to do because there's just so little space. Now we almost invite them, here, come up. Bring your players to the midfield, bring your attackers up. And then that's when like you said, attack them, win the ball, and all of a sudden you're on a half breakaway. Then you can use your speed and your quality, your ability to pass and finish with a lot more space in front of you. So I kind of noticed that today as well, where we basically say, hey, bring it on to Sivasspor. Like, we trust our quality, we trust our ability to win the ball and defend. Show us what you got. Because we know we're going to win the ball back and we're going to have a lot more space for Kerem and Rashica to run and Icardi to hopefully finish. And that's what we did. So great to see from a couple tweaks and changes like that from Okan Buruk and his team.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not crazy, but yeah, that's what it seems like to me. I'm not, like everyone that's listening, I'm not a crazy good analyst or anything. We're just fans, just recognizing patterns and just throwing our thoughts out there. But yeah, that's what I've noticed. And I do want to touch up on Kerem, man. Kerem has been excellent this game. I felt like he was amazing, man. And he's carrying the midfield attacking midfield. Torreira is carrying the rest of the midfield in terms of defensive duties. He's everywhere. But Kerem. So I pulled up the stats. The last time was Sergio Oliveira assisted was in the Kayserispor game, which we won 6-0. That was over a month ago, bro. Okay? A month ago. And then if you look at Mertens, the last time he scored or assisted was in the Alanya game, which we won 4-1. All the games that we really needed people to come through, the midfield to come through, they haven't come through. And Kerem, if you look at his statistics, the last 2 games, well, this game and the game prior, he assisted. And then before that, he also assisted in the Alanya and the Kayserispor games as well. So Kerem has been keeping up, and this kid is playing like 90 minutes every game almost and keeping that intensity going. So again, I feel like people are not giving Kerem enough credit, but I think that's slowly turning, the tides are shifting towards him getting the praise. If his name was Kereminho, he would be getting all the praise right now.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely doing his part. And I mean, my only critique of the way that he plays, and almost it might even be to Okan's the way that he guides Kerem on the pitch, but I wish he would play a little bit more wider sometimes, the way that he did with under Torrent. But again, this might be Okan's preference. He might prefer Kerem to be basically a second striker. I just feel like sometimes it clogs in midfield a little bit too much when you have Kerem always like near Icardi, and then obviously you have Sergio and Mertens there too. It almost feels like one side of our pitch feels empty and underutilized. In this case, we have Kazımcan.
But that's where the wingers, wing backs.
Yeah.
That's where they come into play.
Yeah, in this case, it actually works out fine because Kazımcan actually has been doing a really good job getting up and down the pitch. He's using his youth, his energy to do that. He could, of course, we mentioned it before, he can do a better job with his final passes, but he is making himself available. There were a couple times today where we were able to find a through ball to Kazımcan. And he's working well with a lot of our players, Lucas
he's still young, man.
Yeah, he's still young. He's like 20 years old, and he'll learn a lot.
He'll learn. I know.
Yeah, but like Icardi, Oliveira, Lucas, Mertens, they're recognizing Kazımcan and his ability to get up, and they're playing those through balls. Sometimes when you're new to a teammate that you're not regularly playing with, it takes you a while to recognize where they want the ball, if they can get to a ball or not, their speed, their acceleration, if they can control it or not. But our team recognizes Kazımcan pretty well. They realize he has good control. Honestly, I think he has good control. If, sometimes Abdülkerim plays a chipped ball to him, and Kazımcan does a really good job controlling it and making a pass immediately. So they're using his strengths for the team's benefit.
He wasn't that good at this game, though. He missed a lot of chips. And it went out to the throw-in.
Yeah, some of them were a little bit difficult, but I think overall he's been pretty decent.
Overall he's good.
Overall, I think he's good. I think for his age and the minutes that he's been playing, he's a player that we can trust. Do we still need maybe a better left back for European leagues next season? Probably, but I think he's creating less of a worry. I mean, we had that left back worry all season. I think he's kind of deflated that a little bit the last few weeks, so good for him.
He's cementing himself there slowly. You can tell, like, he's made a bigger difference there than Adekugbe. Like, you can tell, like, when you watch the games and you see all the positions, you can see like Kazımcan just gives you more of a comfort knowing that he's there. Whereas Adekugbe, I feel like he can mess up any minute. And defensive wise, Kazımcan is pretty good. I don't think he really is missing much of what Adekugbe has. Maybe even better. So I don't know, man. But yeah, sure. No, he's slowly meshing with the team, bro. Someone I think who's not meshing as well he used to mesh, Rashica, bro. What's going on with Rashica, bro? I don't know. Like, is it me or does it feel like he's just like losing form, or he's just not being able to mesh with the team? Like, is the chemistry off? It's you can see the chemistry between Kerem and Icardi, but Rashica, it just doesn't seem like he has any bond with anybody. That 1-2 play, it just feels off when I watch him as of late. His defensive duties yet again are great, But attack-wise, again, I think he's like normally a left winger playing on the right wing because he's right-footed, if I recall.
I
I don't know, man.
I think the
Do you bench him for Zaniolo next game?
No, I don't. I don't do that.
Oh, we don't do that here.
I think Rashica, even though his general performance has not been as good as we expect and as we've seen before, I think he's still really crucial to this team with the energy that he brings. And I think he doesn't look as good as he normally might as a result of the surrounding players around him, especially in the midfield. You know, I think Mertens and Oliveira more clearly, more noticeably, their performances are down. And I think because of that, that affects Rashica as well. And I think there were a lot of times this game, actually, Emre, where Rashica was in the right place for a layoff or a shot, or he made a run. And we're just not getting him the ball as quickly or as timely as we should be. And I kind of felt frustrated on his behalf because, again, I see him open and he's just not getting it. The dude has a shot. There was one shot that he took during the game. It was pretty far out, but it was a hell of a shot. It was just over the bar. And maybe from distance, you might say, oh, like that was nowhere near target. But from there to take that shot, the confidence to have it, that's great. And I think it was 2 weeks ago, he took a shot. He was dribbling right, and then he shot left. Goalies can't do anything about that. It was a great shot, and it hit the post and went out. Like, if that went in, we would be talking about completely differently about Rashica right now.
He was the lowest rated player on the team.
Today?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not hard to believe. I mean, if from my eye test stats aside, I think Sergio was probably our weakest link today. He was also just like really bad with decision making, Emre. Sergio, like,
yeah, why is he taking the ball and dribbling? Bro, you cannot dribble with the ball. Why are you doing that? Well, your job is to see passes and distribute those passes that most people can't see. But if you're only passing at the level that Torreira's passing, what good is your skill set? Like, I think he made one really good pass to Kazimjan. He set him off, and then Kazimjan, crossed it into the middle. Apart from that, I don't really recall any like crazy pass that Oliveira made. Sometimes you'll see like someone's like open and you expect, oh, Oliveira got that. He sees that he's going to pass. He stops, turns around and just passes back or something. Bro, what's going on, man? I feel like we do need someone with some vision, man. An 8 that can attack, that can defend, that has some speed, and can just see some of these passes and distribute these passes. That Oliveira isn't. Like, that's one thing we need to get for sure next season. And Murray's back up.
I think a player that can play both 8 and 10, like interchangeably, without dropping a beat, I think would be ideal. Because obviously Mata is not going to be here next season. I don't think he's going to be here next season. He's going to retire,
man. There's no way he plays anywhere.
I hope he comes back as an assistant coach. But Mertens is getting older. I think you can almost think of it as Mata will be dropped from the squad, and Mertens might take his spot as like the backup 10.
Yeah.
And then we find a new 10 that's actually like younger, has a little bit more to offer from a shooting and passing perspective, and hopefully can press nearly as good as Mertens. And then another player to really keep Oliveira on his toes, because right now the players that's going to challenge Sergio in his spot is Rashica and Berkan. And they're both good players, but they're not players where you have a convincing argument to be like, hey, Sergio, you're sitting the bench today, Rashica is starting. Sergio, you're sitting the bench today, Berkan's starting. That is a little bit more difficult. Yeah. Oh, my bad. I meant to say Misho. Did I say Rashica?
Yeah. It's like, no, when does Rashica play number 8?
I meant Misho and Berkan. Those are the two guys that I was referring to, but we'll see. TBD on that. I think there are rumors that we're interested in some new midfielders, but concentration. Hashtag concentration. That is what we're about currently. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah. So dude, again, our defensive backline, pretty good. Almost 0 mistakes. Concentration at an all-time high. Again, Muslera probably could have went for sit down and have a good, tea session and come back and still would have been fine.
Yeah.
What do you think?
He only had to make one save today. He was chilling. Yeah, he didn't really have much to do. And credit to, again, our defense and mainly Sergio Lucas in the midfield. They cleaned up a lot of the mess before they became a problem for Muslera. If Muslera did anything wrong today, it was that one or two passes out of the back.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
maybe that's the reason why he's doing those dumb passes, because he's so bored and wants a little bit of action. I don't know. But nah.
A risk, man. I'm telling you, man. This man bets.
Yeah.
He invests in crypto as well, probably.
I don't know. Don't want to comment too much on that, but yeah, that's Muslera guy's clean sheet, and I'm sure there's maybe some sort of bonus tied to that, and well deserved.
Speaking of that, I saw a statistic that if Muslera gets 2 more clean sheets, I think he breaks the league record. So if he closes his goal against Ankaragücü and Fenerbahçe, he breaks the league record. Crazy statistic.
That would be some way to break a record, actually.
That would be a great way to end the season, to be honest with you. It looks tough, but it's not impossible. You think Muslera is good enough at the current state he's in to carry on the torch in Europe and in the league? It's a tough question, I know.
Yeah, that's tough. I think regardless if he's good enough or not, I think we do need to bring a new goalie in. There's rumors of some foreign keepers. There's rumors of Urcan Çakır from Trabzonspor.
Nah.
A lot of that is TBD. And again, I'd rather not talk too much about rumors and stuff like that. But
I'm asking if you want. Do you think he's enough at his current state? Not that if we should, or do you want one?
I think he's fine, man. Muslera is still very good. He makes little mistakes here and there, and maybe in the last month or two he's made a little bit more than average, but I think he's still very good. Good shot blocker, very good captain for us on the pitch. It's difficult for a goalie to have a lot of say, being the last one in the back, and maybe a lot of the action, especially for a club like Galatasaray, is in the midfield and attack. But still, I think if I'm a Galatasaray player and I see Muslera behind me, I feel a little bit more comfortable and safe, even with those mistakes. So I'd rather see him continue. I think he has another couple of years on his contract.
He has one more year, I think.
Okay, I think play it out. If we find a good opportunity for a backup or somebody to compete with him, do it. At the end of the day, we are Galatasaray fans, not Muslera Football Club fans, right? We care about Galatasaray most. If what's best for this club, decided by Okan Buruk and our board, is to bring another goalie that start over him, so be it. But in my personal opinion, I think he should stay as our number one goalie. I think he still has it. He's still good. He's a goalie. Goalies play long past the average age of a field player, right? So he still got it. I think as long as he can avoid injuries, that is.
Yeah, even when he does get injured, he works hard to get back quick. Yeah. Who would have expected after that injury against Trabzonspor he would be back? He came back despite the expectations of when he would get back, right? He got back way earlier. But again, we love Muslera. It's just provoking thoughts here, thought experiments for you guys. We don't hate. We love Muslera, and Yasin stated already he's the number one Muslera fan. You have a jersey from him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, there you go. There you go.
All right. Emre, if there's nothing that you want to discuss in detail, I'd like to finish this off with a couple stats, which I found interesting before we move on to the next game. So Mario Icardi. Mauro Icardi.
I'm just teasing.
Became the first foreign player to score 5 consecutive goals for Galatasaray in the Super League since Mario Jardel in August 2000.
Damn, 23 years later, man.
Dude, 23 years later, first foreign player. Okay, you might naturally think, okay, you kind of confine the search a little bit by putting foreign up there. But think about our last strikers in the last how many years? Most of them have been foreign. I guess maybe Burak Yilmaz might be the exception to that, and he's Turkish. But We've had Falcao when he's healthy. We've had Drogba, right? We had Almandar. We had a lot of good strikers that you would think maybe have a chance of a record like this, 5 consecutive goals. It's Galatasaray. We're always scoring. But man, that's a stat right there. I think.
Dude, again, we really need to look,
Lock him in.
I did say last game that he wasn't great, but he just finds a way to score. And then imagine a Cardi that is in form, in shape, and just hungry for success. That is just going to be a whole different ballpark, a whole different game. And, oh man, if we just get Icardi, that would be one of the craziest transfers. Like, it's already a crazy transfer, but it's a loan. But if you get to keep him, that's next level. Like, imagine if Beşiktaş kept Abu Bakar, or what was his face last time, Mario Gomez, when he was going off on them, right? Like, names like that. Like, that's serious. Strikers that carry a team. Like, literally, he's carrying the team right now. He's scoring goals that are, like, aside from Kerem, like you don't expect him to score the goals that, that he scored the second goal in particular, right? Just out of nowhere. Like Houdini, man, making things appear and disappear.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
He's a great striker. So that's awesome. And this one is targeted towards my boy Samet, who's not here, but
is it a Yusuf most consecutive games not played at Galatasaray?
Oh, okay, Emre. I mean, I have nothing to say. About that one. Yusuf will bounce back next season, hopefully. But no, it has to do with Sivasspor and Riza Çalınbay. Galatasaray is the team in which Sivasspor coach Riza Çalınbay has lost the most games to in his Super League career. Like, no team has beaten Riza and Sivas more than Galatasaray.
Oof. No wonder he's always crying.
That feels good to me, personally. And speaking of defeating Sivasspor, this is the first time that Galatasaray defeated Sivasspor in both the home and away game in one season since 2014-2015. So it's been...
Became champions that year, didn't we?
And yes, sir. We became champions that year. So listen, man, it sounds kind of nice. We won then. Maybe this year as well, TBD, but...
TBD.
Good vibes.
Yeah. What is your vibes for, if you don't mind, the Ankara Gücü game?
Man, this is tough. I'm not going to lie to you. Many weeks ago, when we were looking at the last stretch of our games, I said this is probably our toughest game because this is a game we're playing away. I mean, we played a couple of away games recently, but they were still in Istanbul, so it didn't really feel like an away game as much as this one will. Ankara Gücü are currently, they are in 14th place. They are 5 points clear of relegation. So
at the moment,
they do have that pressure, that worry to potentially be relegated. And that is always a scary and dangerous thing when you play against a team that is in relegation. You don't want to mess with a pet, an animal that is sick and angry and hungry. You don't want to mess with the team that is near relegation because they will do their best to make sure that they stay in the Super League. For their own good, for the team's good, they probably have all sorts of bonuses and incentives tied to this game so that they win and stay in the league. So it is going to be very tough. With that said, Galatasaray is also a very tough team. Galatasaray, if they win against Ankara Gücü, if we win against Ankara Gücü, it doesn't matter what Fenerbahçe does next game, we are champions.
Yeah,
like we are
100%.
Going into that game, Emre, with the mentality that if we do what we did the last 3 games, play focused, play safe, play defensive, do not make mistakes, do not play silly, but Emre, Kerem, Rashica, Mertens, Icardi, do your thing, make your runs. You'll get the ball, finish in the box. We need 1 or 2 of those, and we're done. We'll win. If we go in with that mentality, we will become champions. We will win that game, and I think we will win that game. As tough as it is, I think we will win that game. And Emre, we will come back to play the last home game versus Fenerbahce as champions already. That is my prediction. The score to finish it all off, Emre, is going to be... It's going to be...
Okay, Mr. Octopus, let's go.
It's going to be... I want to say 2-0, but we just won 2-0 3 times in a row. What are the odds for us to win 2-0 again? I'm not sure. I'm going to be confident and say 3-0.
3-0. Wow. Okay.
We're gonna score, Emre. We're gonna get a little taste of that championship, brewing up, and we're gonna get another one. And at that point, Ankaragücü is gonna be defeated. They're gonna be like, all right, this game is already gone. What are we trying here for? And we'll get another one, and that's it, 3-0.
I don't know if that'll be the case because they're hungry for a win. They need some wins, but if they win their next game, which is against Ümraniye, right? They might be a little bit more comfortable. So it depends. They also play Başakşehir right before our game, right? And 5 days later, they need to play us. So anything can happen between those two games. There can be injuries, suspensions, you name it. So you know what they say.
Bizim olsun.
Yeah, there's a her şeyin bir hayrı vardır, right? So you never know what happens. Again, if we tie that game, even if we tie that game, worst case scenario, we tie that game, we're going into the game after with 3 points. So again, everything is in our hands. It's up to us. As long as there's no ref shenanigans, it's all in their hands. And I think this team has the capability to do it, to make it. And in the last championship we had, we also played away and won away and cemented our title, if I recall.
Yes, sir.
One of them was Göztepe, and I can't remember the other one. But
yeah, the last one was Göztepe. I think that's when Gomis scored the penalty, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and just so we set the scene, guys. I mean, Emre kind of touched on it. If we win against Ankaragücü, automatic champions. If we tie and Fenerbahce win their game versus Antalyaspor, if we tie and they win their game, the last game will decide the championship. But Fenerbahce will need to beat us by more than 3 goals for them to become champions.
3 goals if the goal differential is not in their favor. So they need to beat us 4-0.
It's head to head. It's head to head first. So
right. So look, if they beat us 3-0, like if they're beating us 3-0, then they look at the goal average because then we're tied on head to head.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They have to beat us by more than 3 goals. So they have to win 4-0 or 5-1 or 6-2. You get it, right? So if we tie, that is the situation. And if they win, if Fenerbahce lose or tie versus Antalyaspor, we're champions. No matter what happens.
Yeah. Even if we lose the upcoming 2 games, we're champions.
Yeah. We can lose versus Ankaragücü. God forbid we lose against Ankaragücü, and Fenerbahce lose or tie versus Antalyaspor away. They play away. We're champions.
Yeah. Yep.
So we're almost there, my friend. Almost there. Very close to sweet victory, but we have to wait a little longer than usual because next weekend is round 2 of the election for Turkey. So we have to wait just a few more days. I think our game will probably be sometime midweek. Next week, I want to say. So not next weekend, but maybe the week after that, like during the week. Maybe
it says Tuesday, May 30th. So
is that official though?
Changes,
I'm not sure. Yeah, okay.
I don't know. Hopefully it stays official. But it's, I think, I don't know. Don't let me speak out without knowing. If anything changes, we'll let you guys know. Yeah. If you follow us on Twitter, you'll see.
That is true. So apparently our players have 2 days of vacation after this game. They deserve it. Take a little bit of a break, relax, come back focused, and then we're in the final stretch. So with that said, man, I think we're good on this episode. We got the clean sheet. We got the win. We are almost there. Champi, almost there.
We got one hand on the trophy, on the handle. We got one hand. It's up to us to reach out and put the other hand and lift it.
Yeah, man.
And with that said, thank you all from around the world for listening to us. Again, for supporting us. Love y'all. Today was a glorious day. I hope the next time you guys hear us, it'll be a very good day in our name. If you have any questions, if you have anything at all, if you want to reach us, say hi. You can reach us at The Lions Den GS on Twitter and Instagram. If you want, we also have a Discord community where we get together and talk. We play video games. We do whatever. Talk about anything. Hit us up for your very special invite. And with that, you will receive a GOAT status for coming from Twitter or Instagram. And yeah, till the next one, take care and peace out.
See you guys.